The amount of objects and materials in a scene has a major influence on rendering performance. This scene consists of a vise and an oil can. Each of the objects has its own UV mapping and separate materials, each with 4 textures. Since the objects do not move independently of each other, they could be merged to reduce complexity. This is easy for the meshes, but in order to merge the materials, the 2 UV maps also have to be combined. However, changes to the UV mapping would invalidate the existing textures, which also have to be put together somehow. With UV-Remap, the UV coordinates and textures of the 2 objects can be edited synchronously to merge them. First, we open UV-Remap and load the mesh and textures for the can into one tab and for the vise into a second. By selecting a texture, it is displayed to better distinguish between the 2 scenes. By hiding the can in the mesh tree, we get a better overview, so we can move the UV islands of the vise to the right. After showing the can again, we no longer have any overlapping UV islands and can place the 2 UV maps on a square. In this case, we scale all the UV islands smaller and place the vise elements around the can. The bake settings affect how we want to export the changes. The exported files are stored in the output directory. Merge scenes results in the vise and the can being combined in a single FBX file. Merge textures causes the textures of different objects to be merged. Many FBX files have materials with textures included. These are no longer valid after the changes and can be removed with strip FBX materials. Setting change checked only to false means that all UV islands have an influence on the result, regardless of their visibility. The island margin transforms additional pixels around the UV islands to prevent artifacts on their edges. The texture resolution affects the resolution of each output texture. By clicking on Bake, UV-Remap exports the changes and saves the results in the output directory. We get a FBX file containing both objects with the merged UV coordinates, and we get 4 textures for a single material. The scene complexity has been drastically reduced, with no noticeable changes after rendering.